This is the Alliance Dispatch. Do you read us?
Welcome back to another Emergency Dispatch broadcast. I don't know what to call it. Shadows of the Galaxy. I'm excited. Are you excited, James? How are you doing?
Pretty excited. Pretty excited. Excited enough to jump on this last minute emergency dispatch broadcast dispatch thing, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, we are literally, as we speak, we are uploading episode 3, which is now completely redundant because of all the new information that has come to light in this.
With all of our amazing hot takes of what the new set was going to be like, and yeah. Well, someone had to release a video before the spoilers came out to make their podcast episode for the week irrelevant, and this week it was our chance. Like, next week, who knows? Who knows who will release an important content the moment they hit upload on their latest episode.
Yeah, it's just how it works, right? But I mean, it's still plenty of good stuff. It was a dev chat review and some channel updates that are relevant if you are interested in following us. So do still check it out, please. Right, let's jump in, shall we?
Jumping in is a great thing to do. I just want to point out on this title screen that I've made, I've stolen some art off their announcement, and we've got Mando versus Gideon, which is obviously the new starter set based on the cards we've seen in the spoilers. But there's also a nice bit of art that's got Maul, Aphra, and Cad Bane in it. Maul sporting, I can't work out what lightsaber that is. It's not his double-ended lightsaber from either his original or his old one that's got the little hook on it.
Isn't it so, like his initial Clone Wars?
Yeah, so is that his...
It is his first saber, but it's just the one half of it that does work, right? From what I remember.
Early Maul Clone Wars is not where a lot of my Maul knowledge lies. So
well, because at the end of at the end of episode 1, he has one. It gets cut in half, and he has a working half. I think that's the working half.
Okay.
Let us know in chat if I'm wrong with that.
It sounds wrong. It doesn't look like half of his two-handed lightsaber from.
Yeah, it does.
I don't
Yeah,
agree.
it does. Pretty sure it does. Anyway.
Yeah. Exciting to see Darth Maul.
Yeah. And what I was going to say is they're not really pulling any punches here. They've sort of, the first thing we have seen was that picture of Maul, Aphra, and Cad Bane, which are 3 like fan favorites. We already sort of knew about the Mando and Moff Gideon, I suppose, but
yeah,
they really just have, like, we're eating good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted Maul from day one, moment one.
Yeah, we all did.
Well, I don't think we all did. I'm sure there's some Maul haters out there, but they are in fact incorrect.
They are incorrect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. I'm on the hunt for my Hyperspace Fallen sabers, and I really hope they don't spike now that he's been revealed already. But we'll see.
Yeah. Wow.
We'll see.
Hopefully not. So yeah, going into spoilers. Number 1, we've got something you want, and this is Gideon in leader form. Which James, you want to take us through this first one?
Yeah. So you can, as an action, you can tap him. Attack with a unit that costs 3 or less. If it's attacking unit, gets +1, +0 for the attack. 5 resources is his flip point. I'm going to lead off with this art, and the art for Mando gives me really strong Destiny vibes. I don't know about you, Danny.
I don't know, because I've not seen it before, so it can't give me Destiny vibes because I've seen all that art before.
Well,
you see what I did there? Got him.
Yeah, you got me. But that's sort of, it's not.
Yeah, no, yeah. When I think about like Ayla or Rey, that it's got that very kind of like portrait, like almost posed like art style of it. My original hot take of Moff Gideon is he's very similar to Krennic, but they don't need to be damaged to gain the bonus.
Yeah,
and I guess it's kind of not as well, because like Krennic is always online, so even when you're getting attacked and stuff, and this is only one guy, you can boost up a little bit, and it's only against units, not against bases. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. There are some similarities for sure. I think I'm not a green villain player right now, but for me, my first take, I don't suppose particularly hot is he seems quite aggro for a green color.
Hmm.
Like that ability and the fact it's for units that cost 3 or less, you're not like
Yeah.
going, here's a big unit.
And he's
or
coming
here's
out on
5.
turn 5.
Mhm.
3/6 is probably the best. He's better than IG at 3/5. Because
Yeah,
IG's
yeah.
3/4.
So sorry, yeah. He
4,
flips as he
5,
flips.
so
He becomes a attack 3, 6 health leader with overwhelm.
yeah.
With
And
the
then
same
the
ability,
unit
but
that
they
he
also get
attacks
overwhelm.
with gains overwhelm as well. He also gives that bonus. So
Yeah.
he's much better on his
Mhm.
on his deployed side, which is something obviously most leaders are, but it's very interesting to see that tweak. Normally, the ability is just cut and pasted straight over to their deploy side, where this time we're seeing that extra boost of the overwhelm.
Yeah, I think there's some boosts that do exist on the flip side, right, in the first set. But I mean,
Maybe.
yeah, I mean the Inquisitor's ability is much better on the flip side. So that's my sort of knowledge for absolutely everything. And also,
Obviously, all of your knowledge comes from the Inquisitor.
yeah, and also, well, Han literally puts the top of his deck into play as a resource, and when he attacks as a leader, which is completely different to his non-flip side. So you're actually talking complete Utini.
I do love talking complete Utini.
Yeah.
Look,
so it's the stress. It's okay. It's the stresses of our first live day.
Yeah. Well, I'm just here for hot takes, not correct takes. I want to look back on this in like 3 months after we've got the set, and it'll be like,
yeah,
it's like
the big brain move.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big brain move is just lie through your teeth about everything and get confident through people.
Kind of on the theory of looking back, this is something I was thinking about earlier while I was waiting for you to walk Marge. Was out 1 out of 10. 1 to 10, I should say. Moff Gideon. What are you giving him? You've seen him. You've looked at the card for an hour. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
With,
yeah.
With no other cards from set 2 pretty much known.
Yeah, I would say. Are we so right now with set 1's cards? Or are we saying like our prediction once he's got his own card pool? What are you saying?
Either. Right now, how good do you think Moff Gideon will be in the new meta? Is he the new Boba of set 2?
No, I think.
Is he Jin?
He's not Jin. I'd say he's like 1 being IG-88, 10 being Boba Fett. I'm gonna say a 6 or a 7.
Okay, so like Luke, Vader, kind of area,
I think,
maybe a Leia.
Yeah, I mean, Overwhelm is really strong, right? So that his ability, if he's got loads of different 3-cost or less units, so if he's doing IG-88 but better, then it could really literally overwhelm people.
Yeah, because you say he's already gone wide. So and he's got all these boys there, and they're all getting overwhelmed with +1.
It's pretty big.
It is pretty big.
Yeah. So I think his flip side is amazing. I think his action is pretty good. I don't think it's like cracked, but I think it's good, right? Because you're not spending anything to do it, and you're activating a unit, so you're not being any slower to activate the ability. And I think we talked about recently about how strong claiming is and things like that, and having initiative.
Yeah.
I think he's good. Maybe 7 rather than 6. What do you think? Are you there?
Yeah, I am thinking about Overwhelm as a mechanic.
Yeah.
The only way
it's trample in Magic, right? It's trample in Magic.
Yeah. But you don't have to kill the thing, because there's blocking in Magic. Trample's really good because you can force the life through. Where Gideon obviously allows you to trade more effectively because any overspill will go through to the base. But the only cards we see at the moment with Overwhelm that see any players Steadfast Battalion, which, as we both know, is unplayable garbage. Straight from the dev's mouth.
From the dev's mouth, yeah. I'm actually, so I'm gonna review this. I think I'm going to go over what I've just said. I think his action ability is actually really good the longer I look at it, like his non-flip side.
Okay.
Because I think you can run, again, it depends on what we get, but you can run things that are like lower on attack but have higher defense value, like a 2/4 or something, and trade with your opponent's 3/3s and live.
Right.
I
So
think
what you're
that's really
saying
good.
actually is this is quite good in a grit deck if we pair them with blue.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh,
You've taken
James is
out my mouth.
obsessed with grit. Who would have thought?
Yeah, no, well done. Yeah, I think that ability, the fact again, like I said, it doesn't, you're activating one of your units with it,
Yeah.
so you're not slower on the claim, and the fact that you get a buff, that early game is really strong, and his flip side, late game is really strong.
Hmm.
Um, so he's actually really good, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm literally looking at this. This is like the most I've spent looking at him, so my opinions are complete
Well, this is
garbage.
why. This is why I've asked you, man. I need your hot take, and your hot take is really good. Then you put him higher, 8.
I'm gonna say 8. I'm gonna say 8. I'm leaving it at
Okay.
8. Yeah. What are you
Um,
saying? Give me a number.
based on current overwhelm in the game and how much is played, I'm giving him a big fat. I'm gonna give him a Grand Moff Tarkin. Let's give him like a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I've said it. Trash. Absolutely trash.
Okay. All right.
I would play Vader over this.
Well, Vader's red, right?
I would play Villain Green over this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because he does something very different to what Palpatine, especially, but both the
Palpatine.
Green villain leaders do
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Green is a good
yeah.
color. That's what's propping
Yeah.
them up. I've said it.
okay.
Next up.
I disagree.
Next up, let's go. Let's see what comes with him. So we've got a couple of spoilers here, also
Yeah.
from the starter deck. So we've got Gideon's Light Cruiser, which again has Overwhelm, and when you're played, and if you control Moff Gideon as a leader or a unit, you can play a villain card that costs 3 or less from your hand or discard pile for free. That, and I said to this in our initial chat, it's kind of like Home 1 but for villains. But actually, is it anywhere near as good as Home 1 without the restore? Because Home 1 is 7/8, Overwhelm is good, space units generally are understated. You know that Overwhelm is definitely going to see, you're blowing up stuff that maybe has 4 health, 5 health if it's a fire spray. But you can
Yeah, I think
kill a fire spray
Overwhelm-
with this and keep going.
Overwhelming space is relevant, right? I think as well. So for me, I don't think it's great, but I think when you're playing a Moff Gideon deck, it probably does go in as your 8 because the on play is good. On play is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I think what we shouldn't discount is the fact that it is colorless. Or it's black, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have. It's not locking you into anything. It that could be relevant somewhat, at least at very least in draft.
Yeah, and there's also the possibility that the Moff Gideon unit is quite cheap. We could see him like a Boba, like a 3-drop, fairly reasonably statted. So he is likely to hang around, and maybe you get him out on turn 7, or maybe he's a 7-drop he's got some board presence and is unlikely to get traded into that well on turn 7, so he could be alive for the turn 8 play. Because being able to pull, just straight off the top of my head, like Cell Block Guard or obviously the new Phase 3 Dark Trooper for free and just kind of stick it in play there's definitely value there. Like one of the greatest things about Home 1 is being able to, pull out that Fleet Lieutenant or just pull a Battlefield Marine back out, or if you've got the extra resources spare to go higher because it reduces the cost by 3, where this is obviously limited to a 3-cost unit.
Yeah, I think when we're talking about it, it's draft unless you're playing.
Yeah. Well, it's not draft because it's a starter deck card.
Oh, it's not even. You're so correct.
Which also means I am also comparing a starter deck card to a legendary, which is quite. So which is quite an erratic thing to do because this will be very common, obviously.
Yeah.
So and that's obviously why the power level is slightly reduced from Home 1. But I feel like actually maybe that power reduction isn't that much lower than Home One.
No, it's not. I don't like remind. Now you're reminding me it's a legendary compared to a starter deck. I'm like, oh, grab. That's a very good pick for a starter deck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think it probably goes in every Moff Gideon deck
Yeah. Well,
because of the on play. Because it's 8 cost for like 11 value, pretty much,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
And also you're playing a green villain, so you have DJ Death Stars and resupply.
Yeah.
So you're probably getting it out before
Before
turn
that. Yeah.
7. So
Yeah.
I think it's in a Moff Gideon deck. I'm gonna say 8 or 9 out of 10. Everything else probably like 2 out of 10.
Yeah. Sure.
Agreed or disagreed?
I'll give it a solid 5. I think it's a perfectly average functional card. It's not as good as Fire Spray.
Mhm.
It costs more. Its effect isn't as good. Its body is bigger, but not that much bigger. And that's a 6-drop to an 8. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it will see some players, some off Gideon decks, but other than that,
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Do you want to take us through the next one?
Is it a 5 overall? Is it a 5 in a Moff Gideon deck as well, or what are you saying?
5 overall. I'll give it a 6 in a Moff Gideon. No, it's a 5 overall because without that on play effect, you wouldn't play this card.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's like a 2 out of 10 outside of Moff Gideon deck because I don't think without that on play, you probably don't play it right.
Yeah, it's like a really bad ATST, and ATST is already pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Next one. Give it to us.
Calculated lethality for blue-black. 4-cost tactic. Defeat a non-leader unit that costs 3 or less for each upgrade that was on that unit. Give an experience token to a friendly unit. Get in the bin, Luke Skywalker. Seems really good. I think it is. I think what I really like about blue, especially blue black, is the removal that's like straight up defeat.
Yeah.
Getting around shields and things like that is huge. I think it's a really good card. Genuinely. I think it depends what the meta shakes out as to how good it is versus your other options like takedown and things like that already exist. Power of the Dark Side are already in that slot.
Yeah.
But if we see, this new set seems to be really focused around upgrades, and if one of those decks becomes meta, then this is a huge. I mean, it's a great sideboard card. I'm gonna go straight in with a 7 to 8 out of 10, depending on the meta sideboard card.
7 to an 8 out of 10. You've got some hype building up for this set already. I can tell.
I think maybe that's it. But I think as a sideboard piece, it's brilliant. Like if the meta is all upgrades, or Luke Control gets loads of love, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like being able to defeat is amazing.
Yeah.
3 cost or less, it's fine because at that point it's turn 3 when you play it. That's getting rid of a 3 cost is pretty huge at that point anyway.
Yeah.
And it's not like Power of the Dark Side where your opponent gets to choose. You can be like, that is going to die.
Yeah.
And if it has shields on it, you get an experience token. So it's like
Sure.
a lot of value in that, I think.
I will say this has absolutely incredible value from Guardian of the Wills. Absolutely trashes that card into nothing. It doesn't see any play at the moment, and if it ever does see play, we've got the ace in the hole for anyone who dares to slam it.
So what's your beef with Guardian of the Wills? That guy's doing nothing other than be a force unit that I can target with ball strikes.
It's for my general hatred of upgrades in this game. I don't think there's a lot of value in upgrades in Unlimited yet. In Destiny, we had redeploy, and those were mostly the only upgrades that ever saw play, unless they were absolutely pushed to the limit, and you're like, okay, I'll play this because I see immediate.
I think that's the interesting thing about this set is that all the focus on unit on upgrades is making me optimistic that they'll be better. Obviously, that could be stupid, and it could be that like Mando's Blaster gets played. That will be coming up in a minute. Sorry. Or something like that. But like you say, like currently it's like Vader's Saber's amazing in Darth Vader, and Luke's Saber's amazing for Luke. Beyond that, they're not great. Obviously Shura is quite good with weapons as well. but the lack of redeploy, like you say, is really bad. Like I've fallen lightsaber is going into it and it feels amazing, but as soon as someone removes that thing, whoever's holding it, it just feels really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, this is really good for if upgrades overtake the meta.
Yeah.
I don't think that will happen, and I don't think it will see any play.
Sure.
It's a 10 out of 10 if that does happen, and it's a 1 out of 10 in the most likely event that that doesn't happen.
Which is like my more generic 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 is probably, it's basically saying what you're saying, but in a different way.
Yeah.
More optimistic way. So
yeah,
we'll move
you
on.
are optimistic though.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm very hype. Moving on to phase 3 Dark Trooper. It is a 3-cost green black, 3 attack, 3 block Sentinel, so very much like your cell block guard, but for green. When combat damage is dealt to this unit, give an experience token to this unit. Danny, what do you think?
I don't like Sentinels with that are this low statted. If this was a 3-4, I'd be more into it. It is definitely better than Cell Block Guard. If you're playing green, you'd play this over Cell Block Guard every time. You can Vader ping this, which immediately then turns it into a 4-3.
That's true.
And like if you do manage to keep doing those little pings, like you stay at that 3 defense, but you just kind of boost your attack through that damage. It's fine. I'd need to see something happen where, if you can ping some damage onto it, then use Gideon to attack with it to give it the +1 and maybe the overwhelm as well. It's all right, but I just think 3 defense is just a bit for me.
Yeah.
Very unexciting.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest,
Oh,
because you led, I will agree with you.
Wow.
No, I did.
Leighton's just said on the live chat that it only works for combat damage. So Vader's ability, Palp's ability, doesn't work. Trash.
So it's just trash. It's trash.
You will play this over a Cell Block Guard in a green deck, but no one play. Well, very few people play Cell Block Guard at the moment.
Cell Block Guard's pretty good, I think.
Well, he's only pretty good because we've only got like 3 cards to play the game with.
Yeah, fair.
And there isn't that much Sentinel in Villain.
Yeah, I think so. My immediate thought was like Palpatine has another Sentinel to like try and live until he can flip.
Yeah.
So maybe you play him alongside Cell Block Guards in Palp, but I don't play much Palp, so that could be nonsense.
Sure.
Again, I agree. The 3/3 stats is fine, but the ability is so irrelevant because essentially you don't want to get him damaged before you want to sit in there. In my opinion, anyway, Sentinel's there to go, I'm going to hit your base and you're going to have to trade into me.
Yeah.
The fact that this is encouraging you to send your Sentinel into someone and then someone sends themselves into you if you survive that first hit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that there's a lot of moving plates there, and it's not really how I like to play Sentinel. And I don't
like if someone's got a crafty smuggler and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to hit your 3/3 and ping my shield off," and you're like, "Thanks, I'm now a 4/2, and I'm just going to hit your base. Thanks for the boost." Like it feels okay there, but most of the time people are know that 3 defense is kind of what the 2 and the 3 drops are at, and a lot of decks are built around getting to 3 attack. I think it'll get hit, it'll get removed, and you'll rarely see that ability come into play. It's another big 1 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go one higher. I'm gonna say it's a 2 out of 10. If you're playing Palpatine, so if you're playing Palpatine, it's probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10. It's probably fine, right? But overall,
you will play over Cell Block Guard in green 100% because you might get some value out of that ability, but I don't think it will be often that you do get value out of that ability.
No. Yeah. Moving on.
That is all the villain. We're moving on to the internet daddy, I guess. That is Pedro Pascal. Mandalorian. He is a 4/7 yellow hero leader with the ability, when you play an upgrade on anyone, you can exhaust this leader. If you do an enemy unit that costs 4 or less, you can exhaust an enemy unit that has 4 or less HP remaining. So it's kind of like being able to like Dooku something like sneakily, like you ping it down a bit, you play Dooku and you remove it. But this is kind of like every turn. So suddenly, you know, the 1-cost snapshot, which is just like attack with a unit, give it +1/+1, and no one uses it at the moment, is suddenly, oh, also exhaust this guy.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, he is much better than Gideon in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of cheap upgrades. Both of these, you'll see by the spoilers that are coming up in a minute. You've probably seen them online anyway. But it looks like both of these decks are paired with a blue base, because they've both got blue cards in their start decks. Which would mean that you can easily just slot in all the blue upgrades into this deck, kind of fitting on that theme. Like, there isn't a lot of attachments in red. A lot of them are trooper stuff that doesn't really interact with the Mandalorian or the Bounty Hunter tag. Maybe you could go red and buff up some of the troopers. I'm just trying to think, like Rebel Trooper and stuff, maybe, because that's yellow.
I think
it's possible.
So I'm leaning more towards the exhaustion sort of the control plays here, and I think Mandalorian could be the first. Like, obviously we've seen double yellow Boba, and that's done really well. I think double yellow Mando could be insanely annoying to deal with.
Cunning.
Think about all of the exhaust. Think about Leia.
Yeah.
Think about cunning. Think about. So I've just quickly searched as well. Bamboozle. The card was some of the worst art in the set.
Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger, baby. Think about Mick Jagger with one of the new cards we'll look at in a minute is the Bounty card, which doesn't cost anything to play, and that's an upgrade.
Yeah, sure.
So, I don't know, like, there's a lot that you can do to just keep people exhausted, and...
I mean, when he flips, though, he gets even better, because it is just, when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less remaining hit points. You can keep doing that.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't tap him, or...
That's what I was going to say. So he's a 4 damage, 7 health when he flips on 6 resources. And when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust a unit with 6 or less remaining. The new bounty upgrade is 0 cost.
Sure.
And when it says when you defeat something, when you defeat the attached unit, ready 2 resources.
Oh, I haven't.
You could play. You can play that.
Card.
Oh, it's in the video, so it's not going to be here. So yeah, so it's a yellow upgrade. It's not going to be in the slideshow, and it is when the attached unit is defeated, you ready 2 resources. That is off the top of my head. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
The fact that it costs 0 is awesome with Mando.
Yeah.
And also is the fact that I was about to say the combo once Mandalorian is out with Bamboozle is you could play it to exhaust something. You could then Bamboozle to send that thing back to its hand, and you'd get the upgrade back, I suppose. Unless it just gets destroyed. Maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah, because it would have to be defeated, bouncing, returning to hand wouldn't be defeated.
So exhaust the unit, return each upgrade on it to its owner's hand. So you'd return your bounty onto your hand. So you exhaust something else once you play the bounty, then you play Bamboozle to exhaust the thing that the bounty's on.
Yeah.
Grab the bounty back and then play it again. I don't know. Just see, there's some shenanigans already as well.
I mean, even if you're just doing that while just to exhaust units for a 0 cost, not actually playing the 0 cost for any effect other than I want to exhaust this 6.
Because notably it's not once per turn.
6 HP unit
on Mando.
Yeah,
the Mando. So
he is at that fragile kind of 4-7 point. So a steadfast battalion does just one shot him. He comes out on turn 6, which is a turn later than Boba Fett. He's got the same stats as Boba Fett. His ability is worse than Boba Fett. I'm just going to leave that out there.
Build around it. I think you can build around it, but Boba Fett has a busted ability, so...
Yeah. But really cool. I'm looking forward to a Mando deck for sure. Next up, we've got here...
Hang on, we've not rated him.
Oh, sorry. I'll go back.
I'm part of it.
Yeah. I will give him an 8. 7, 8 out of 10. I think he's like Luke good, Vader good, Han good. You can still play Falcons and all that good stuff in this as well. I think he's. I think he's 8.
Mando
I'm giving him an 8.
I'm going Mando Meta straight 10.
Straight 10. Wow.
Yeah. No. He's
I mean,
yeah.
we've
He's
already
probably
had
that
one
age.
broken Mandalorian. What's the second one?
That is true. That is true.
Right. Next up, we've got the Mandalorian rifle attached to a non-vehicle unit. If it's attached to the Mandalorian, he captures an exhausted non-enemy leader unit. Put a capture card face down under him until he leaves play. It gives him +3 attack, no extra defense. It's an item, and as a weapon, it's a 3 drop.
Yeah, it's 3 drop.
No, I've not actually seen what capturing does, like what a capture card is. I'm going to assume it's like a he's no good to me dead until until that upgrade is removed from play.
Yeah, I mean, he explains it right there, right?
Well,
In
you
the
don't. It doesn't
brackets.
say what a capture card is. Oh, sure. Yeah, it's
He
exhausted
captures an
unit.
exhausted enemy non-leader unit. It's
Yeah.
just
Put a capture card
Yeah.
face down under him.
yeah.
until
So you
leave
have to
play.
target an exhausted non-leader unit.
Yeah.
That card becomes captured, and it goes underneath until you play. I just want to say that seems insane. Seems really cool, and also
Well, no, because you're still
what-
assuming what the capture card does. It doesn't say what the capture card does. It says just put a capture card face down under him.
Danny, are you insane? What are you talking about? We know what the capture card is. He captures an exhausted enemy non-leader unit, and then it explains what capturing does in the brackets. So when you play it,
Oh, the capture
you
card
select.
face down under him until he leaves play. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
I thought I was going insane.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought,
like
what do you
putting him
mean?
into his arsenal. Got it. I am
I think
missing
this-
the key word of put the captured card face down. I was assuming
Yeah.
in my brain a capture card was a token, like a
No,
shield.
yeah,
or-
no,
yeah.
no.
The unit
No,
is
you just
captured.
you steal it, it goes face down,
Yeah.
it comes back into play when he leaves play. I just want to say, before we talk about how strong that mechanic is,
Yeah.
the actual flavour of that mechanic is such a win. That is fair play to the designers. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
think
really
it would have been
flavourful.
cooler to have that on. You can come with me warm or you can come with me cold. Come with me hot.
Yeah.
Come with me cold. Whatever the line is, it's a good line.
Oh yeah, sure. So you're talking Mandalorian quotes because you're a nerd. Yeah. I mean that would be that. Maybe that's an event in the set, right? But yeah.
Sure.
Really cool. I like the flavor. I think it's a strong effect. I don't think it's too strong.
Yeah. My big issue with it, like I said, is like the leader unit is quite easily taken down. Like a steadfast battalion does just clear him. That will obviously free the captured card.
Yeah.
So my take on this. So obviously there is a unit version of him, which we'll see in a second. I think it's got the same problem. I think attaching this to a Mandalorian character, while themey and cool, if you do it, you are unlikely to keep him in play long enough for it to matter.
Sure. I think that's fair. I think you have to. There'll be some timing situations going on. I think you need to make sure your opponent has spent their they've got the play.
Yeah, like if they've claimed
play
and you're
it.
like, oh, play a Mandalorian rifle to capture that guy, then means he then can't swing with that guy straight away.
But no, it doesn't work like that because it has to be exhausted.
Yeah, so So let's just say they've attacked with it, and at the end of the turn, it's whatever, right? It's just
Or if they've spent
unit.
No, I mean,
anything. You could capture a space unit if you're weak in that. If you're weak in space, as long as they've attacked with it, then it's
also like they come in tapped as well, right? So if they spend their resources on that, you spend your resource on like that creature, and you just go, I'll steal that.
Yeah, it doesn't
You get
say
it for
that didn't
turn.
enter this way this turn, so yeah.
Yeah, and it presumably goes back into play exhausted because it says capture an exhausted unit, and then it puts it back into play. It doesn't say anything about readying, so
Yeah,
you're definitely getting a turn of value out of it.
sure.
Even if unless they kill you that turn, obviously, which just doesn't
Yeah, I
play
mean,
if
you know,
they're-
how many times have I flipped Boba and then had it steadfasted straight away? Quite a few times. Will we still see steadfast and ECL in the new set? Who knows? It feels good.
Maybe you're holding on. To quote Kylo Ren, maybe you're holding on too long.
Maybe.
To Steadfast.
Are you quoting
Maybe
the
get banned.
sequels, you nerd?
Maybe
Yay.
um,
Right, do you want to
I
take
think
us
it's
through?
good.
What do you reckon? I'm giving this a. You talked me around a little bit. We'll give it a 5 out of 10. I think it's all right.
I'm going 6 or 7 just because it requires correct sequencing.
Yeah.
and it's still strong in a Mando deck.
Okay. Go on, Razor Crest, read us through.
Read us through. So Razor Crest is a 4-drop vehicle transport, blue-white, Mandalorian vehicle transport, 3 attack, 4 block, health, defense, whatever you want to call it. Restore 2, which is nice. That's a nice keyword to have.
Yeah.
When played, you may return an upgrade from your discard pile to your hand. So more upgrade love in this set. As we said about, we're not that keen on set 1 upgrades. Maybe set 2, they get really good. Maybe it's all trash.
Yeah.
3/4 on a 4 body is not great. I've just realised as well, this is space. This is a space unit. I was looking at it. I was like, I just went blank for a second. I was like, is this?
It's got space in the art. If that was a ground unit, that would have blown my mind.
There's a few. There's a few.
There
like
are
that.
a few.
Yeah. So I think that's fine, roughly speaking. I don't think it's anything amazing.
Yeah, I
Again,
think
it depends on the upgrades we see.
Yeah, I think the upgrade recursion is good. The big issue of upgrades is that they are removed quite easily by defeating the character, and then they're gone. This will allow you to run like a more of a plethora of upgrades rather than maybe you do 2 of some upgrades, maybe even a 1 of, rather than being like, right, I need to pick 3 in these because I need to see it, and once it's gone, I need to see the next one. And this allows you to kind of get around that a bit because now 3 Razor Crests is also 3 upgrades of your choice that I've seen play already this game. The Restore 2 is really, really good at such a low points cost because we've got at the moment Star Viper, which is a 3-drop, 3/3, which is Restore 2 when you have the initiative. So for 1 more mana, you're getting 1 more health and the non-conditional restore. And
yeah, I think
that 4 defense and space
huge.
is huge because there isn't a lot of 4 damage. And the Interceptor, I forget the name of the one that is like deal 3 when played.
Yeah, the TIE Interceptor. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, this can survive that hit. I think it's really good. I think it will probably just see play in blue hero decks. Like Luke loves this card because maybe you can get your Luke lightsabers back to play with your Lukes later on in the game, so you can just kind of slap it down early and be like, wow, it's C-3PO with a lightsaber, let's go. So I'm going to say really good. We'll probably see staple play in blue hero 9 out of 10.
9
out of 10. Razor Crest, hot take, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go 8, but I think as we sort of spoke about, the 4 breakpoint with a Restore 2 body at 4 is really good.
We've not seen anything.
I actually don't think the when played is going to be like the main reason it's run.
No, I think it's going to be a nice to have. I think you probably, if the upgrades do get pushed a little bit more and we get a few more cheap ones, if we get 0 cost blue upgrade, get Electrostaff is good. Like Churuk will definitely play this card, 100%. So 9, 10
it's
out
already
of 10.
going into deck.
I'm in. Utini 10 out of 10.
18, 10 out of 10. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've gone for it. And now
Well,
we're going to have a look
at
at what Moff Gideon wanted all along. Go on, James. What do you think about little baby Grogu?
I hate the art, but we'll go more on that later. So it's 2 cost, yellow, white, Grogu, Force, 0 attack, 5 big old booty defense. Action, tap it, exhaust an enemy unit. This card screams to me pushed. What the hell is going on here?
Every person I've shown this card to, they're like, oh, Grogu looks pretty good. I'm like, he does seem pretty good.
Yeah. Irresistibly good, according to his subtitle there. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna. I mean, so you're not hitting back when he gets hit, but you're basically it basically says Sentinel on him, right? Because your opponent has to remove him.
Yeah.
Like he's just really good. So like this with Leia and like we said with the upgrades with Mando, I think that deck's going to be pretty disgusting.
It's looking pretty good. My issue with Grogu is he is a bit slow. You play him on turn 2. If you've got the initiative, then you can just obviously tap him immediately to tap your opponent. Turn 1, sorry.
Turn 1.
You can tap him immediately to tap your opponent's turn 1 play. That's completely solid.
Mm.
If you're going for a more control, for a more control game, I think that's where he sits. I think if you're planning to play the long game, Grogu's excellent. If you're playing something that's more aggressive, you play Leia every time because she has that immediate board access. And can immediately is a bit of pseudo removal later on in the game where you play Grogu turn 7, and you slam this 5 body down. It's like, okay, he's got Sentinel, but he also doesn't have Sentinel, and your opponent can just be like, I don't care. You exhaust one of my 3 great cards. I'm just gonna hit your base for like 10.
When I say Sentinel, I mean early, like
absolutely. Like early on, you're going to want to get rid of him because mid game, you play something big, and then suddenly it doesn't get to do anything. Like it's
I know it's another flavor win, right? Because especially if you're playing Imperials, you're like, I want to kill that thing. I want that thing dead. Like I need to capture it or whatever. Like it's very important to get rid of, which is cool. But yeah, late game, you probably just go sure. I'm just going to make sure I hit with my big thing. Although even then, like, even with the late game, you've spent 2 resources. Presumably you've done other things with your hand, like late game. You can literally, like, even if they've got the turn and they don't kill you first and they just go, okay, I'm just going to slam this big body into your base because we're getting to that point.
Yeah.
You can tap as your action a 2-cost thing to exhaust a 5 or 4 cost thing, even a 3 cost thing, and that's good value, right?
Yeah.
Seems insane to me. Does it get played in Villain Thrawn? What do you think?
For 4.
Yeah. Is that asking too much?
I think it's too slow for turn 4.
Yeah, I think you might
I think
be right.
I think by the time you've got 4 mana and your turn is to play Grogu, your opponent's gonna have 5 damage on the board and will just immediately trade into it.
Yeah. Again, it's Sentinel.
Yeah.
With 5 health, which is what you've been asking for. So
yeah, but I reckon they'll.
It doesn't actually have Sentinel. I feel like we keep saying that someone's going to misquote us there. We know it doesn't have Sentinel, but we're saying it's so important to get rid of that it feels
pseudo
like
Sentinel.
Yeah. So moving on. I mean, sorry.
Well, for a card that 1 out of 10.
Garbage. 1 out of 10 after
garbage.
After all this thinking.
Okay. Absolute garbage, Grogu.
I think he's like 6 out of 10.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
But that's fine. We can all be wrong.
I can say him in the right deck. I think he will work really well.
Sure. But I think in a control deck, sure. Are we going to see control hero yellow decks? Maybe.
Yeah, we are. Look at the Mando. Look at all the control you can get out of slamming upgrades down. And also, if we're going with blue here, which we obviously are in the starters at least, you can splash in Entrenched, and he's like the best target for Entrenched ever.
Yeah, he is spicy on Entrenched. I will give you that.
Right. Turn 1, slap Grogu down. Turn 2,
entrench him, and then he turns into a 3/8 that can he's just swinging like a wild man into ground units. Sure.
Well, no, you don't even swing them, right? You just keep exhausting them, and then they have to trade into you presumably at some point.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's my hot
take. So it's cute. You've still not convinced me. 1 out of 10.
Fair enough.
For a card that actually does have Sentinel, though, we've got Mandalorian Legendary unit card. He is a 5/6. When played, heal all the damage from a unit that costs 2 or less and give it 2 shield tokens. Wild.
Yeah, so I mean, he's blue-white, Sentinel.
Yeah,
it's the first L of the set that we're seeing, right? Which is I mean, very generous.
Yeah. I don't know. Like my mind immediately goes like, obviously people are like, yeah, you can heal Grogu and then slap 2 shields on him. If you play Grogu turn 2, he ain't making it as a 2-drop. He's not making it for the Mandalorian to
maybe
to
if
be
you
around.
keep playing Entrenched, he does.
Yeah, I think he is obviously much better on anything that you're playing upgrades on. There is still, takedowns and vanquish, which just kind of ignore the fact that you've got upgrades and shields and all that good stuff. But I think you'll get more value from this healing and shielding something that on turn 4 you swang somebody with an electro staff who's now at half life. Doing this on Chirrut, really, really good. Chirrut's dead. I'll play Mando. I'll fully heal Chirrut. Oh, I can't.
Well, you can't. It's a unit that costs 2 or less, Danny. Come on.
Two
Come
or
on,
less.
I think so.
Yeah.
That brings us quite neatly over to what I think. I think the when played is pretty irrelevant a lot of the time. I think what we were saying in episode 3, which should be live now, go check that out after you finish here.
Yeah.
What we're saying in that, well, what you were saying in that is you really want big booty sentinels.
Yeah.
This is a big booty sentinel, Danny.
He is, but he's 6 cost. 6 cost. So this is coming out the same turn. This is coming out after Boba Fett. So maybe he can stabilize you. I just don't think it's enough. Like Chewie is also this statted, I think. I'm just gonna quickly get it up on my phone. So
no worries. While you do that, wherever I go, he goes is the subtitle, which I quite like. But I just think blue, you want to survive anyway. Sentinel's really nice for that. I don't play enough blue hero, but I imagine there are blue hero decks that he goes in. But tell me that I'm wrong. 5/6 Sentinel on its own seems very good. Obviously, it's 6 cost, but there's a reason for that. You're slamming down a 5/6 Sentinel.
Yeah. Right, so Chewie is a 5-drop. He's 3/6 with Sentinel, and when he's attacked, he gets to ready.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And Chewie doesn't see any play.
Yeah. I've got him in one of my decks, but maybe I'm bad at the game.
Yeah, okay. He doesn't see a lot of play.
Yeah.
So this is, costs more. He's got 1 more pip of strength and an ability that at the moment isn't filling me with a lot of joy.
Set 2 dependent.
I
think he's like a 4 or 5 out of 10, I'll be honest. After everything we've discussed, what do you think?
Because I don't know what's in set 2, I don't think it exists. So he is a 1 out of 10, unplayable, garbage. Jay would probably see this card and be like, I'm going to wait for the unplayable review of these. I bet you Jay loves this card, which is all you need to know about how bad this card is.
Jay from the unplayables, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go check them out. Yeah. Bit of a downer to end on. Don't know why you did it this way, but not great.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't really thought about him yet, but no, I don't think he's very good.
Did chat have any thoughts? I'm not.
Leighton is just saying he's got 1 more attack than Obi-Wan. I guess that's more of a fair comparison. Obi-Wan has is actual blue, also Sentinel, but has a really good on death ability, which is what you want on a Sentinel. Obi-Wan's a 4/6 for 6, so the same as Mando, has Sentinel, but it just has that when defeated, give experience tokens to a friendly unit. If it's a force unit, draw a card, which is just way better than fully healing a unit that costs 2 and then giving it 2 shield tokens.
Yeah, unless that unit is Grogu with 3 entrenched on it.
Yes, unless you've managed to entrench Grogu 3 times. And in which case, why your opponent isn't just playing a Vanquish on that, I don't know. But if after you've fully healed it and given it 2 shields, they don't then play the Vanquish on it, GG, you've won the game.
Yeah.
I think that's all I've got to say about these spoilers. I think it's very exciting that we're getting them now. Set comes out start of July, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're 3 months out.
Was it the 12th? It was in the video.
I think it was just before my birthday, which is on the 8th. I think it might be that. I think it might come out on the. I think it's like the 5th or the 6th.
It was a great review video. I didn't know that.
Or pre-release is on the 6th, I think.
Okay.
And then the set will obviously come out the week later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but yeah, we got 3 months to kind of pour over spoilers. I'm looking forward to going back through spoiler season again. They dropped at a reasonable time in the UK as well. That's good.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
Not always the case.
It's definitely not always the case, especially when it's US companies. But we've rambled on for 50 minutes. We did a Type 20 on this, mate. Type 20 was so good at keeping to time.
That is the Alliance Dispatch way.
Yeah.
This has been an emergency broadcast. Thank you for tuning in.
This is the Alliance Dispatch. Over and out.